60 seconds to comply.
I think you'd better do what he says, Mr. Kenny.
You have 60 seconds to comply. This is minute 63.
Part man.
Pod machine, all pod. This minute begins with Robocop shooting dudes and ends with him reading Boddicker his Miranda rights.
My first note is just more trick shots. And I think this one has the infamous over-the-shoulder shot as well.
Yes, I love the over-the-shoulder.
I know you are. Bang!
And then he kind of turns and does
so
that really
good.
robotic turn towards Boddicker, and it's just, beautiful. The choreography is just,
I do have a correction here from the last minute. I said last minute, it was the mustache guy that shot Sal. It was this minute.
Yeah, no, it was in this minute, the Pillsbury Doughboy turns on his coke drug lord.
Yeah. The funny thing, again, I think most of what we had to say happened in the last minute. But the one note I'm definitely going to say, I did say that I think this is the only confirmed kill I can think of with Robocop, directly shooting one. Because he shoots Min. Who, I love this. He shoots Min, who knocks Joe off the scaffolding into a box. And it literally took me until watching this minute that is a direct reference to what happened to Lewis.
Oh, right.
30 plus years? And I only just realized that. And I saw this again just recently, and I was just like, I was like, oh, they did that.
I'm thinking, if you did film this with a wide angle, I think it would still look pretty badass, because you've just got this guy calmly walking through all of this chaos, just shooting down people. Like, it's just the most natural thing in the world. No rush.
And that's what I think I really do like about the scene, is that in the remake, we just had that big... We have this big shootout with the robots and Rorschach, and it's... Robocop running and shooting and dodging and weaving and blah 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 blah. That does nothing.
Yeah.
Here we have the tank, Robocop. He's just smoothly focused. Guy, bang, guy, bang, guy, bang.
We don't get that much anymore. Even with Superman. Superman back in the day would just stand there, hands on his hips, taking a bullet to the chest or even the eyeball, and nowadays, I think there's I do love that scene. But the sort of Matrix, Spider-Man kind of fly around choreography, doing all that, crashing tiger, hidden dragon thing. We've never really gone away from that. And as technology got better and better, it's easier to make your characters do flips and shit. Yeah. So, but no, less is more. And the way Robocop or Darth Vader never has to rush. They never have to run. They don't need to. It's really cool.
Yeah, no, funny enough, as soon as you said Darth Vader, I was going to bring up the exact same point. But this is how you convey power. Purely in body. Like, the suit's restrictive. So what do? You make the movements fluid. Bang, fluid, bang, precision. It's control. Darth Vader doesn't have to do jumpy, kicky flips and all the other stuff that they introduced in the prequels. Why? He's a badass, powerful master. He just walks and fucks yo shit up.
Yeah, Magneto's probably another example where dude doesn't have to do much at all. He can just raise a finger. Ian McKellen in an interview said, he could raise a finger. In fact, you know what? He wouldn't even need to do that. With his mind, he can just move things around.
In regards to Magneto in those movies, when Magneto has to extend his power, that's when it becomes more powerful, because that's when the body, he has to do, like, exaggerated moves, or he has to, shake himself, like, to show that there's a strain.
Yeah, I think if you start at 11, you've got nowhere to go. So if you start with all these rubber CGI characters doing flips and stuff, well... how am I going to connect with this? How am I supposed to care about that, progress or power and skill?
Yeah, I will defend that with, say, Spider-Man, because that's Spider-Man's gimmick.
It's so inherent to Spider-Man, yeah.
But Superman, when Superman is fighting a street-level thug, he just stands there, because he doesn't have to do anything. That's kind of the point. Like, Superman just has the bullet deflect off him. And that's the power move of the street level thug with a gun. And it's completely ineffectual to Superman. Superman doesn't have to posture against a human. That's the point of the power.
I will give them credit. The Ben Affleck Batman, the choreography in that is just so. It's a tank again. He is so brutal and efficient, and for the most part, he's not doing all the CGI flips. It is just get in there and in the least amount of moves, take out as many dudes as you can.
Well, let's face it, they just basically stole the choreography from Arkham Asylum.
Yes, which is pretty dope.
That's a cheap shot.
Yeah.
No, but that is great for what you with Batman because he isn't a god, and the more time Batman is going to spend with a group of villains with guns, the more chance he's going to have to someone to shoot his goddamn head off.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. Superman doesn't have to do that. And that's why I think those Christopher Reeve ones are great for that.
Yes.
When the guy comes up behind Superman on the boat with a crowbar and smacks him on the back of the head and he doesn't move, one of the best moments in the movie, because it's just that thing of like, Superman does not need to, because it's like, are you just going to surrender now? It's literally the moment in Austin Powers Goldmember when Michael Caine goes, you should just lie on the floor. You're already dead. Just lie on the floor.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite. I'm not a fan of that movie, but that's one of my favorite movies in the movie.
Yeah, I like, so you can do all over the top CGI stuff. I think especially when it's satirical. So Deadpool, I think a lot of the action in that is hilarious because it's just like he's spinning his katanas a million times and deflecting bullets. Okay, I guess so.
Oh,
Whereas
no. Deadpool 2 is the best version of that because it inverts it because, he's doing the whole, from Wolverine Origins, he does the bullet deflect bullshit, but then in Deadpool 2, he does the same thing
that's
against
right.
Cable and he gets peppered with bullet holes. Because that's what would happen.
Yeah, no, that's exactly. Whereas, something like Wonder Woman, I think it was in the Justice League movie where Wonder Woman is trying to save all the hostages, and they fire bullets onto the hostage. So just really quick, bracelets deflect, and it looks so silly. She's like jumping on her knees, and it looks so fucking funny. And I just go, well, she doesn't need to do that. She has the reflexes to just yeet her headband onto this dude's head before he even pulls the trigger. Why not fucking do that, genius? It reminds me of that, there's this artwork of Superman, stopping a train, Spider-Man 2 style, and because there's kids on the train tracks. And someone put a comment underneath, why don't you just pick up the kid instead of ruining a perfectly good train? Thanks. That's taxpayer dollars, Superman, you dickhead.
Yeah, Spidey couldn't do that.
Yeah, Spider-Man ruined a train because he had to. There was literally no option. What is your excuse, Superman?
Yeah, like that moment. So that's literally my favorite moment in the entire film. Spider-Man 2 is my favorite movie of all time. We'll talk about Robocop eventually.
Yeah,
but Spider-Man 2. That moment is my favorite in the entire movie. It might be one of my favorite moments in cinematic history. Yeah, I'm going to be that pretentious. Because that is Spider-Man literally being pushed to his limit.
Yeah,
I'm a massive sucker for a heroic sacrifice. Especially one that has stakes. J.J. Abrams! So, and that moment where, Spidey pushes himself to that edge, saves the day, and then just collapses from exhaustion. Just talking about it makes me want to fucking cry. It's really that good and it's really that powerful.
Yeah, it shows the best of humanity. It's not just a heroic sacrifice, but everyone around him is humanized. It is it is a beautiful human moment, which is so rare in the superhero genre. Yeah.
Even though they tried to do that in the MCU and stuff like that, it just doesn't work quite as much.
Yeah, I think they often conflate, I don't know, moping and being miserable with being human. I'm looking at you, Bucky and Sammy. It was very miserable from beginning to end. I didn't feel the humanity. There was no humanity in that story. Not the same way Spider-Man 2. No way.
The only humanity in the Bucky and Sam show is the moments where they're on the fishing barge.
Yes.
Pretty much it.
Yeah, those were nice, at least.
I was more thinking directly to Homecoming, which I actually do think is a really great film, as a Spider-Man film especially. But the scene when they're on the barges and Peter, Spidey, Tom Holland is essentially they're recreating that scene from Spider-Man 2 where he's just webbing everything up and trying to save all the lives.
Yeah.
It's almost there, but then Iron Man just comes and pushes the boats together, and it just undercuts what that moment is. Like, there's no it's supposed to be the sacrifice moment, but it's undercut because it doesn't pay off. And I think that's one of the biggest problems with a lot of modern day superhero thing, is that they don't want to have those moments. I mean, even in Enter the Spider-Verse, they have a bit of that in there, but even that doesn't fully work. Miles getting beaten up by the Kingpin is kind of that moment, but it's not as much of a sacrifice.
I mean, and then there's Robocop, which, I was going to try and...
He gets sacrificed at the beginning of the movie.
Well, he makes a sacrifice at the beginning of the movie, and then he is bulletproof throughout.
Yeah, he dies for our sins.
Yeah, it's not about his own physical vulnerability so much, I think, the way it is with other superheroes. Again, I didn't realize how much he inverts a lot of those superhero tropes of he is the one who is permanently disfigured, not the villains. He is... he doesn't have any particular weaknesses or vulnerabilities. I think a lot of superhero stories, especially the origin stories, are kind of about this rise to power, but realizing, oh yeah, I'm not invulnerable.
Well, Robocop's invulnerability becomes a thing a few minutes from now. At this point, this is the second act. This is Robocop at his most powerful. He is getting his revenge. Well, pretty much at this point, he's getting his revenge, or what he thinks is his revenge.
So there's something I've heard from both the writers of Knight Rider and Airwolf.
You look like crap.
Fuck you, kid!
Both shows with indestructible vehicles. And they said it gets so difficult writing those stories when the car or the helicopter can't be damaged or destroyed. So there's a lot of times in both of those shows where it's like, well, hang on, it's indestructible, except this one new kryptonite. You know what? If you struggle to write... I mean, the same thing with Superman, actually, speaking of kryptonite.
Yeah, that's why they invented kryptonite.
Yeah. Oh, he's too perfect. He's too flawless. It's boring. No. Well, especially, I mean, Superman is OP. He's way too OP. But I think it was Grant Morrison did some interesting things where it was more of a sci-fi tale. It had nothing to do with...
All-Star Superman.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
It was nothing to do with how strong or weak he was, because it was just him doing some cool space shit. And I think, weirdly, in fiction, we're so fixated on, especially in action, strength and one character defeating another character. But you feel like other genres, like science fiction, for example, it's about exploration. It's about, or you could have something about political intrigue, or there's so many different stories you can tell. Just because someone can't die doesn't change anything, because most protagonists have plot armor anyway, and we expect them to not die, so...
Well, that's the funny thing about All-Star Superman, is that the actual inciting incident is Superman is dying. He gets overpowered by Lex Luthor, and he knows he's dying, so it's about him trying to fix things so when he's gone, the world is a better place, or at least it's not going to fall into chaos. And that's like the whole thing with him and Lois. Like, he turns her into Superwoman, and even just for a day and things like that, he's trying to spread his message. Yes, Superman is OP. Superman is powerful. Superman's boring. Right for Clark Kent.
Exactly.
He is the human factor. People forget Clark Kent as a concept. Yes, more classic Superman ignores that as well. This is why Crisis really was great for Superman, because it really brought back this idea that Clark Kent... Superman isn't Clark Kent like Bruce Wayne is Batman.
Yeah.
He grew up as Clark Kent.
Yeah, for most of the time, superheroes, they are their truest selves when they have the costume on. I think most people say it's the opposite for Superman. He is Clark Kent. The whole Superman thing is just, a uniform, a necessity.
Yeah, 100% agree. I think Clark Kent is the more interesting character. And that's why I love those issues of Superman and comics of Superman where it's about Clark Kent having to deal with all the shit that Superman can't deal with.
And Murphy never really... I mean, never really comes back, is the thing. Even in the sequels and the comics. He's never really Murphy ever again. That alter ego, if you could call it that, dies. There's a very firm line between the Murphy life and the Robocop life. And he gets some semblance of it back, but he will forever be Robocop.
Mostly through Lewis.
Mostly through Lewis.
Yeah, Lewis is pretty much the only person that really refers to Robocop as Murphy.
I think that's the beauty of that character. It's just so tragic. Robocop is an incredibly tragic character. And again, going to what we were saying in the last episode, there is no switching off. There is no going back for him. There is no alter ego.
Yeah, no, I think the existential crisis of being Robocop, this is something that should be dwelled with a modern recreation or a modern retelling or a sequel or a reboot.
Yeah.
Delve into that shit.
Because in the remake, he still has a semblance of himself. So, and you, again, one of the most horrific scenes is when he sees, as Murphy, fully conscious, sees what happened to him. And it is beautiful, gruesomely beautiful, and I wanted more of that. You know, I wish, Cronenberg directed it, because you would have had more of that body horror, that psychological trauma. I think that's, not that it's lacking in the original Robocop, but it's something that we're curious about. In a remake, that is really scratching that itch.
Yeah, it's not lacking because that wasn't part of the tale
Exactly,
they were trying to tell. Whereas they were talking about in this movie about the loss of humanity, and that's why I think they dropped the ball in the remake, is that Murphy never loses his identity. They strip away his emotions, but they never strip away Murphy. And that's why one of the things I really hate is that...
Yeah, they never pretend he's not Murphy.
Exactly. Sellers mentally differentiates himself because he doesn't care, it's just a product. But the rest of the characters are just dealing with Murphy. They're never dealing with Robocop. And as much as this would be a great segue, it's a bit too early because we're finally starting to see, I was just talking about it, the first engagement between Clarence Boddicker and Robocop. Robocop has taken care of every single other body in this place, and Clarence, in an attempt to escape, crashes down onto the floor and then begins the interrogation?
Yeah.
We don't get much of it. We do get, the Miranda rights. But my comment here, I just want this to the title drop so badly, is let the body hit the floor.
Yes.
I thought about this the other day when I was working on the editor. I was just like, I have to write this down.
Yes. So I do love that, going way back to the dude shooting his cocaine boss in the stomach. I think that's the role of the action choreographer, stunt guys. Yes, we need an action sequences, and yes, action sequences can inform the plot. So you really got to... that's a very different kind of brain to my own, I think. To think of those little moments of, wouldn't it be fun if we did this? Or this would be really interesting if you did that. And I think there's a lot of character... just that little bit of interaction there of, the irony. He's killed by his own dude.
Yeah. I've done a little bit of, I won't say stunt choreography, but like fight choreography. My short film, it's like there's a montage, which is like the training thing. So it's just finding those moments where you can add some humor, add some plot development, and it's all told visually. And action is visual storytelling. Mad Max Fury Road is basically 2 hours of visual fight storytelling. And experts in their craft can just keep you compelled, and I think this is a really well done one as well, because the action's simple, it's easy to follow along, but it tells you a lot. Like Robocop, the biggest badass of this entire thing, he's not pronouncing himself to be the biggest badass in the room. He just knows it and executes, in some cases quite literally.
This is just a day at the office for him.
Yeah, that's it. It's got a little bit of extra emotional content because we know the context clues in the movie, the connections between Robocop and Clarence and all that. What's to say that this isn't something that Robocop has done before this moment or will do 1,000 times afterwards? For Robocop, there's no real difference. At least visually, he's not expressing anything beyond complete normality for his situation.
Yeah, this is just a continuation. This is a status quo. This is just objective after objective. Which, it's funny, we're talking about this. I don't know if I've mentioned on my show, but obviously I've had my YouTube channel for all of this. But yeah, I had encephalitis from about the age of 11 until recently. I mean, I technically still have it. It's just that I treat it through reducing inflammation and stuff. But yeah, I didn't have emotions for like 20 odd years, and finally having it now, realizing, oh yeah, it was very much like being a robot, and you there is no peaks and valleys. It's just, here is the next task, here is the next thing to do. This is no different from, you could be in the most stressful situation or a very relaxed situation to another person, and to you it's all the same. It's just neutral.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most in retrospect, that's one of the most powerful moments in this entire section. Is just, we know this is a deeply emotional moment for this character. Well, in essence, this should be,
it should be, yeah,
but the character just does not convey any of that, and I think that's what makes it even more powerful in retrospect. Is this isn't Murphy's getting revenge. The metatext it is, but for Robocop, this is just him doing his job. We'll see where that leads, and I think that's the thing. After the encounter at OCP, that's when it becomes more personal. That's the moment when the betrayal of OCP is what actually maybe potentially unlocks Murphy. We'll talk about that more later.
I was just going to say that I love that for this scene especially, every single character has a distinct outfit. They have a distinct look. They're not just a faceless crowd. I think nowadays with action movies especially, you just have a horde of identically uniformed people, or Tory or whatever they are in the first Avengers, or some kind of creature. A horde. Yeah, and yeah, I like here that everyone has their own different hat, different jacket, that weird karate headband that seemed to be really popular in the 80s for some reason, even if you aren't in a dojo.
Oh yeah, because the Karate Kid would have been
84.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe even 2 by now.
Hang on.
Yeah, the Kung Fu craze of the 80s would definitely be in full effect by now.
Karate Kid came out just the year prior. While they were filming this, Karate Kid 2 came out.
Yeah, I mean, the martial arts craze.
84. I was right, 84. Why do I know that?
Was about this time. Yeah. So
yeah.
It's a surprise.
My God, martial arts so took off. And you know what? I'm glad Robocop has no martial arts whatsoever. That would have dated it, I think, so much more.
Yeah, it would have been a shame if they added a ninja in a future movie that never existed.
Yes. But yeah, because I've been watching Cobra Kai lately and just thinking, this is fucking weird. The whole thing of karate, of like, people really believed in it. It's total bullshit. Just use a fucking gun or a knife. You live in the modern world with modern weapons. All this like Wing Chun bullshit, not gonna achieve anything in an actual fight. Get some fucking pepper spray. I don't know, a taser. We live in a technological age. You're bringing, the knife to, the sword to the gunfight. But yeah. And also,
there's a great
you pay money for people to kick your ass. Sorry, I'm going a tangent here, but you pay money to go to a place every week to just have people punch you, and I'm so invested in Cobra Kai, and I don't understand why, because it's fucking stupid. They should all just stop.
Look, all I'm going to say about going to a place where people hurt you on a regular basis is have a safe word.
Have a safe word, and they don't. In Cobra Kai, this has never been mentioned once, and I'm very concerned. And these are minors, so also an issue.
Aftercare is important.
Yes.
The realization that there's no distinct difference between martial arts and BDSM in one context.
I'm reeling. I'm sitting here reeling. I'm just, wow, what have I been watching for 4 seasons? And 3 movies.
Oh. Dead. The point I was going to bring up is that there's a great bad movie called The Last Dragon.
Oh, yes.
And one of the great things in that is like everyone basically knows and loves Kung Fu. And there's only like one gun in the entire movie, and it's used by the white guy. So, I do have a segue to get into Gaslight. I just realized I didn't do commentary notes. I am sorry. So, in the original book and script, there is a lot of notes regarding the Hood, HUD. it extends on from the targeting sequence in the last minute where he's got a countdown of how many targets he's got. And as he takes one out or neutralizes one, it goes down. It also has a ammo count on his gun. So as the target's going down, also the bullets are going down. Might also explain why he doesn't use the gun on Clarence, but I don't think it really matters at that point. And speaking of HUDs, let's go into a movie that has a really terrible one.
Alright. Here we go. Gaslighting Robocop.
Alex, how do you feel? I feel fine, Dr. Norton.
Minute 67 begins with Lewis talking to Murphy, and ends with Robocop nearly running over a dude's head on his robocycle.
Maybe he wouldn't run over a dude's head with a robocycle if his hood was not covered in junk! God damn it! We can pin this solely on one person, Jon Favreau. The whole Iron Man hood became a huge thing.
HUD. You keep saying hood, you throw him HUD. Yeah, HUD.
HUD, whatever. Don't care. Fuck it. Pronunciation. Go to hell because, god damn it, that made sense in Iron Man. Everything's in a corner. It's with peripheral vision.
It's nicely done. He has a million tabs open. Robocop here, just a fucking million tabs. He is not watching the road. I am very concerned. Yeah, I know he's probably got some, autopilot GPS bullshit. I don't care. It's a mess. It is very visually uninteresting.
God.
I mean, the entire film is visually uninteresting. I don't know, those
It's a
5-star
mess.
reviews that said, oh, this is so slick. No, it is just...
No.
It is so beige. There's no... I don't know if they've actually done any filters on this movie.
They have to be.
I guess they have to, but it's just so bland.
Brown.
It's just so beige all the way down. I mean, we talked about this before, but I think it's especially apparent in a scene like this where, okay, so the Iron Man HUD, you have a really great visual there that you got the close up on Tony's face. It's underlit with the blue, cool, and then you've got all the little blue HUD details in the peripherals. It is very visually interesting. You've got depth, you've got dimension. Here it looks like I have literally just dragged some tabs from my browser onto my video player somehow. They're floating there. It is not integrated.
He's browsing for illegal games and he's got 1,001 fucking pop-ups on his screen.
Yeah, it's 1,000 pop-ups. It is just not integrated. And everything just seems so goddamn flat. It is so grey. Especially in this scene, there is all this graffiti on the walls. In the background, there's these guys dealing drugs or whatever, and it still looks really dull and lifeless. You have this kind of Detroit Become Human. It's also set in Detroit. The detective mode kind of thing. And again, just black and white dots, and it's like they went out of their way to make this as boring and safe as possible. They probably went, oh, what if his HUD is all purple graphics? No, purple is too extreme. It will upset people.
No, it has to be black, red, and white because those are the colors of Robocop.
Yep.
Because maybe if he'd had this feed pop up while he's coming into the cop room and he's just I have just received information, I am going to go fucking deal with this, and then cut to the thing. He's literally ducking and weaving through traffic and his entire vision is obscured. It's not even semi-transparent shit or anything like that. It's literally big block fucking letters in the middle of his fucking screen.
So, I told you this in between episodes that I recently got a proper camera on eBay. Just won that. I'm very happy about it. A friend of mine, Luke. We know Luke. Luke gave me his old lighting setup. And now I'm wondering, watching a scene like this going, I am very certain I could do better. Even if I don't have the skills, I know that when I'm filming, I know what looks right and what doesn't. And this doesn't look right. You want... I don't know. Do they need to light it more just to bring some things out more? I don't know why it looks so fucking flat.
I think they were trying for naturalistic lighting that's shot in the middle of the day and things like that. I'm just scrolling through the footage. Every single time I hit a HUD thing... they're doing this thing where it's accessing the CCT cameras. Literally, this is the text on the screen. I'll just describe the bit I'm at the moment. It's 27 seconds in. To the right of the screen is a grid with the target on there. It's so brought forward, as in to the middle of the screen. There's just this gap, and that should not exist if this was supposed to be a functional thing. It just wastes a lot of space. If it's supposed to be a visual reminder, but it's not the focus. It shouldn't be that. Off to the left-hand screen, there's a whole lot of fucking mess.
Yeah, which doesn't need to be there.
Doesn't need to be there, but it's not distracting. So I'm going to not necessarily give that a pass, but your eyes are being distracted by this colourful target, this big box, and all this stuff. So your eyes are being distracted to the right. Then in the middle, you got this thing with big text saying access CCT cameras with a map, with black and white, to give you a visual indication that they're searching the cameras. Why is that there?
Yeah, it's overkill.
Your eyes are going everywhere. If you had to live like this, you'd go insane. It's a good thing they got rid of his emotions, or he might just be like, fuck this shit.
Yeah. So I'm noticing in why we're focusing so much on the lighting in this is that for the most part everything has been interior. This is one of the few exterior shots, and I think they do a fairly competent job of lighting interior stuff. But I'm thinking now, looking at this opening of this minute, what's actually happening is probably that you've got the lights coming down from the ceiling, which is doing the job for them. It's lighting everyone's face perfectly, so a lot of that work is done already, whereas when you're shooting outdoors, the sun can be in so many different places, and obviously this was an overcast day, so it's totally diffuse, and you can't just have completely diffuse light. You need a what do you call, like a target light or a main...
No, you need fill light.
Fill light, that's what. Yeah, like that main one that is going to draw the eye towards literally fucking anything. Here it is too consistent. Another example would be Captain America Civil War. You know, that fight scene at the airport. A lot of people did criticize, the colors are pretty flat and all that. Yes, but when it comes to the lighting, I think it does a pretty competent job. That your eyes are pulled where they need to go. There's depth and dimension. It is still fairly flat, but the lighting at least tells the story. There is a narrative. Your eyes know where to go.
This is going to be a deep cut. Yeah, that's what you get when you hire TV directors to be movie directors.
Yep.
They know how to light things. They don't know how to be creative with it. No, that's a deep cut. I'm also just skimming through this arrest scene, and the other problem is that you've got this colourful background, and the three thugs are all in greys, dark blues, and very muted colours. And then Robocop turns up, and he's also greys and dark colours. And it's just visually so uninteresting.
Yeah, this is interesting, not to use that word again, to compare this to the minutes we've just reviewed for the other Robocop, in that, it's in this warehouse, it's an underlit... Robocop is like a blue-grey, everyone else is wearing fairly neutral colours as well. But they know how to light the scene, they know how to edit the scene, they know how to costume those characters so that it isn't just beige. It's not just one consistent thing and you don't know where to look.
Well, you look at Robocop himself, there's whited out windows, so that's adding a lot of diffuse light. There's shitty fluoros on it, but he's still front lit. They've got spectral highlights, so it's bouncing light off that costume. That is all non-diegetic light. I can tell you that for starters.
Yeah.
And it looks cool.
Yeah, this movie, I don't get when people say they want to go for realism. I say to those people, then make a documentary. Don't make a movie. A movie should be heightened. It is always going to be heightened in some way, and when you do something like this, so I think it's about 20 seconds in where it's obviously they're just filming this as it comes. So it's at sunset, so Robocop is weaving in and out of buildings that are casting these huge shadows, and he is a dark figure on a dark cycle. There are red lights on it at least, but when he...
No, this was shot at midday.
Really?
Yeah, shadows. The shadows are directly underneath. All the footage that's him on the
But wouldn't
bike.
it be a... Oh, no. No, when he's rounding the corner, I think they've shot it at different times of
Yeah.
day.
No.
Rounding
I'm
that
looking at
corner
the footage
there.
now.
Wouldn't the
Yeah,
light be
no, shot
above
at
at
day.
midday?
Yeah, all the shadows on the floor. If you look at the car shadows, they are underneath the vehicles and in some cases slightly forward. There's some slight shadows in the building, so it's maybe 11 or 1 o'clock.
So why is it so dark between the buildings there?
Because it's the...
Because I
it's
know,
the
okay,
most
so
amount
the
of lights.
first, like 11, okay, so second 11 to about
So
second.
give me a second to
17.
analyze. I'm a photographer and I'm doing this shit. So okay, so let's have a look. Which second do you want me to look at?
So when he's rounding the corner, so
Second
from about
11.
second 19,
Oh, okay. So second 19.
that looks very late in the day to me.
That is an afternoon or morning shot because you can tell by the shadows.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay, so that's fine. That's definitely a. So this is where you can start to see incontinuity with the shooting schedule.
Yeah, oh man, we're going full forensic on this.
I'd say this is afternoon because the light's a bit warm
Yeah,
and the shadows are directly in the building. If you traverse a couple of seconds later, when you hit to the street view, that's like midday. Early
Yeah, no,
afternoon.
that's
The
definitely-
shadows are really strong.
yeah.
So
Yeah, we were arguing about two different things there, turns out. Yeah, no, we have discovered that this was not filmed all at once. Who would believe that? Movie magic.
Who believe that?
But yeah,
This is why you check for consistency.
so yeah, the street corner, there's people who are cheering on Robocop, but
Oh, God,
you're
that's so
barely
bad.
aware of it because, I mean, yeah, he's going by really fast. Not an issue if your characters were lit and there was a way to direct your eye. So if you pause on second 22, that just looks like someone
Yeah.
walking past with their camera on their phone just accidentally open. There's nothing. There's no cinematography there.
In the context of the movie, he's had one press conference. I mean, yes, we've got the OCP. That's the other problem. Show don't tell. This does show don't tell. But we've already been told in the press conference, like, wow, everyone loves him. And this is just a reinforcement. It just feels hollow, though. 'Cause it's just like...
I think this is the ugliest minute of Robocop, the remake. I think we have actually found the number one ugliest scene. It's so badly shot. I can't believe.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's because we're being very critical, but I can't believe this was in a professional film with a considerable budget. This is like television, not even like modern television can do a lot better than this.
Oh, yeah. Well, in television, you can kind of need to get away with this kind of stuff because you usually have a lot more condensed time frames to tell a story. So, throwing up graphics and stuff like that, but you're not going to have an extended car riding scene, you know? It's just, again, talking loud and saying nothing. Hate having to bring it up, but Jesus Christ, how many times can I pick it up in this film?
Yeah, it's just making the same mistakes over and over. I was saying off air that I was helping a friend edit a story that they've written, they've never written before, and it amazed me how often I had to say show don't tell, and yeah, at a certain point I went, well, I can't really edit any further until you actually change those things, because I'm just going to keep telling you that over and over again. And yeah, that's kind of where we are with Robocop, going, well, you keep making this mistake over and over again. Why do you keep making the same mistake?
That's the Cyanide and Happiness comic where it's just like, can you highlight all the dumb things? And then the guy comes his entire face to highlight. Highlight the dumb thing. You are dumb. You just wrote the dumbest thing. I'm not saying that, sir. I'm not saying the person who wrote that thing is dumb. I'm just thinking that's very funny.
Look, everyone can write utter shit. Even the best people can write utter shit.
Yeah. Well, there's no such thing as a perfect first draft. At least when you're starting off. No one who's ever written a thing has written a perfect first draft. And if they have, they're lying. Or at least they've got such an ego that it just transcends time and space. And I think about Rick Mayall's book when I think about that. This is Rick Mayall, so you know it's played for comedy. But in the introduction to the book, he talks about how he deliberately did not want this book to be edited. He wanted it to be completely 100% Rick typos and all. And it's autobiographical, but it's also very much filtered through the ego of Rick Mayall in the most comedic way possible. And yeah, there's just plenty of typos. It's a funny read, and it's just unhinged ego, and I love it. It's called Bigger Than Hitler, Better Than Christ. I bought it for my parents years ago, and I read it and I loved it. It's so funny. As long as you take it with a grain of salt and don't think of it as like, this is 100% legit, you have a good time with it. He does get deep on all, and he talks about his like motorcycle accidents and stuff like that, and I think it was a motorcycle accident. Yeah, when he had a I can't remember, when he had a stroke or something like that, and he does talk about like his life. But it's Rick Mayall. You can't expect anything less. So, yes, that's probably the one time you can do something that's a first draft if you're intentionally making it bad to a degree.
I like it. It's daring. So, I guess that's all I have for this particular minute.
Shit, I gotta try and think of a fucking Robocop joke.
You had all this time.
Yeah, but I spent a good chunk of it just getting pissed off at the idea that... God damn this fucking movie. That's mostly what I wanted to talk about was the HUDs. The CHUDs.
The CHUDs. So, Simon, where can we find you?
You can find me at Helios Photos and Fandom Crossing, and I suppose I should pitch a show I haven't done in close to a year. King Kong Power Into the Minutes.
Can't believe it's been that long already.
Oh, it's not been that long. It's getting close to a year, and I really should do more. But yeah.
And you can find me at traviandesigns.com and patreon.com/traviandesigns and Courtney Colson on YouTube. Weirdly, people do recognize me from the YouTube channel. My disability employment officer, he, during the Christmas break on Christmas Day, he was having lunch with the family, told his sister about the channel, and she went, "Hang on, that Courtney Colson? Oh my god, I'm a fan of her. I didn't know she was in Perth." Oh, okay. Wow.
Wow.
So I'm a celebrity now.
Your internet favors.
Yeah. Social media fame hasn't really doesn't change anything, guys. Don't worry, I'm still the same person I always was, and will continue to love Robocop. And
You're not gonna let the internet fame go to your head.
Yeah. So you can find us where all good, mediocre, and bad podcasts are found. All the streaming services. Find us on YouTube.
Don't look for the good ones.
Yeah, streaming services. Did that. YouTube also. That would be good if we had some more activity there. Just some comments, some likes, maybe. It's lots of tumbleweeds. So yeah, and
the wastelands of the internet.
Yeah, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and until next time.
Have you actually seen that other Paul Verhoeven classic, Total Robocock?
Oh, no, I haven't. Maybe we should do that one next.
Yeah, where it kind of splits apart and covers the woman's face. No.
No.
No.